about DRI. I think that for me personally, it's been the first time that I have ever been around so many mentally handicapped people. It's the first time I've ever worked with so many mentally handicapped people, and it wasn't as hard as I expected. It was different. Maybe it was because I was more prepared from spotlight speakers and like Dr. Gentry speaking about othering and really focusing on how we don't need to rid the other, we need to include and engage the other, and that gave me a heart to engage those others while at DRI. And I think that with my heart for ministry, it was an easy way in for me to minister to these people, maybe not opening the Bible and speaking verses, but ministering to them by just being Jesus and shining my light to everyone in the world.
As my major is piano performance, and I've always been wondering what I want to do with that exactly. I haven't decided, but working at DRI has kind of given me an idea. Back in freshman year, I read this book called Musicophilia about how music affects the mind, and it talks about people like the folks at DRI and how music helps them intellectually and to like sometimes make sense of what maybe they're saying or what they're thinking and that kind of thing. And so with working with people at DRI, I understand kind of how they work socially, and I think that using my major, I can integrate that with maybe setting up some kind of program to help them with music. And yeah.
So before DRI, I had been around a few people similar to the folks. However, I always closed myself off to them to some extent and didn't try to get along with them. However, when I went into DRI, because getting along with them was part of the service learning project, I was open to learning about them. And so when I opened myself to this, they immediately came to me. I did not have to go to them, and they were very open about a relationship. They did not attempt to close themselves off. It was easier than what I had hoped for, and it was better than most of the world that I see, because they will close themselves off to other people.
Okay, so one of the biggest things I think that Cornerstone has taught us this semester is just the relationship of like the other and how we can treat the other to be better servants of God. I think one of the things that we've been able to do is to be able to see what the spotlight speakers have been telling us in action. Like going to DRI, we were able to see and feel with ourselves the othering that we talked about during Cornerstone. One of the biggest ways that I saw this in my life was there's a girl at my church back home who has a mental handicap, and it's not very severe, but she always just comes off as very socially awkward, and it was very easy to just kind of try to get out of the conversation. And when I went home for Thanksgiving, when she came up to me to talk to me, I thought about what we had been learning and just tried to engage her instead of just trying to get out of the awkward conversation.
So when I first heard we were going to be working at DRI, I was a little hesitant to help out. I've worked with disabled adults before, and I didn't like the experience too much, but I kind of tried to embrace working with the folks at the house, and I ended up meeting this young lady named Laura, and the first time she gave me a hug, and she kind of held me for a second and let go, and then she opened her hands for another hug, and so I waited. I gave her another hug, and she basically cuddled with me for the next about 45 to an hour, and I really tried to embrace that instead of pushing her away, and my DRI experience was a lot better because of